This episode of the Rogue Deck Builder is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the #1 source for games and gaming accessories, and by GatheringMagic.com, the #1 source for Magic the Gathering news and articles. Hi there, it's Kevin with Gathering Magic and Roguedeckbuilder.com, here with an updated list of the Immortals of the Forge. Not much different from the old one, but we do get some powerhouses in the Scryland, which helps this deck find the Immortal Servitude so much more, as well as we get an awesome card in the Satyr Wayfinder, allowing us to use a creature rather than more Grizzly Salvages or Commune with the Gods. So this is the list that I'm currently toying around with. I've tried a few other versions of the deck, and this is the one that seems to be performing the best. Some other additions that I have is the Gatecreeper Vine, and this allows us to actually go get like a swamp, forest, or one of the guild gates to help fix our lands, and that's very, very good. These guys give card advantage as well, and I'm thinking about putting in a few more swamps instead of maybe an overgrown tomb or something. I'm not sure, as to get more value out of these Gatecreeper Vines, but I definitely want all the Scrylands possible, and unfortunately we don't have the black-green Scryland yet, as I would probably run it over the Temple of Abandon, but I think that 8 Scrylands is probably the most that this deck can actually handle, and almost everything this deck taps for a black, so there's just the 1 of Forest and the 4 of Temple of Abandons, and then again, almost everything in this deck taps for a green. Well, we have the Temple of Malices, Blood Crypts, and Rakdos Guild Gates that don't. And green is pretty essential, but you only need 1 green in this deck. So it's not as big of a deal as if you need the triple black, or a lot of these are like double red or black red. And so those 2 colors are just as important, and black's definitely the most important color in this deck, and that's why we're going to maximize the black sources. Again, Gatecreeper Vine should be able to find the lands we need. My only problem is if we do mill lands, these vines do not give us any sort of card advantage. So again, I'm going to mess around with the mana base. Who knows, I might go down again in like the Blood Crypts or Overgrown Tombs for more of the basic lands, as I think that fixing our mana base isn't too hard with Gatecreeper Vine. So again, it'll take some trials, some testing to decide whether I want that or not. Other than that, it's basically the same deck. We're running all the hasters possible with the Rakdos Shred Freaks, the Spike Jesters, the Ash Zealots, as well as one other inclusion is Deadly Recluse. I found this to be another one of the 2 drops that pairs very well with Burning Emissary. Helps you stabilize and get to that. It also isn't that bad of an attacker, as they're not going to block it. It gets in for 1 damage, and a lot of times that's all you need to do is get in there for an early like 6 to 8 damage, and then your combo with Perforos or your combo with Time Merit will end up winning the game. Another card that you can use is the Satyr, that sacks for mana. The Satyr Hedonist, as it has a great combo with Time Merit. If you get a ton of cards back, it can give you an alternate win condition without Mr. Perforos. So if you're not going up, it's a very aggressive matchup, you can definitely put out the Satyr Hedonist in the deck. I mean, if your metagame isn't very aggressive, but I do like Deadly Recluse over Satyr Hedonist, because a lot of times, even if you get your combo, it's hard to string off those sacrifice, tap the red, add 3, and whatnot. So I just didn't. It was a little bit clunky. It worked every now and again, but a lot of times it just wasn't worth it. So I do like the Deadly Recluse over the Satyr Hedonist. Alrighty, so onto the sideboard. Sideboard is a little bit interesting here. I do have some removal in the sideboard. The main board does not run any removal. If you go up against any aggressive matchups, all of these are going to come in. The Dreadbores, the Abrupt Decays, the Golgari Charms are going to come in favor of cards like probably Satyr Wayfinder and Grizzly Salvage. You'll just allow your opponent to naturally start to mill you, or kill your creatures, put those in the graveyard is what I mean. And then Immortal Servitude will get value just from creatures blocking and going to the graveyard. And that way you can put in all of the removal and help stabilize to get to that point. Against control, what I like to do is put in the Domri and Xenagos package. And Underworld Cerberus is one of those cards that I do put in against control as well to get all my creatures back from the graveyard. Again, these are nightmares for like Azorius Control to deal with, as all these guys have haste. And then the Cerberus, they have to answer it, and then you get everything back after like a Supreme Verdict. So definitely thinking Cerberus has a place in this deck. Again, we'll test it out. But Control, what we'd probably do is take out the Grizzly Salvages and the Satyr Wayfinders, and again, go into the more Control route. So these would come out, or all of these would probably come out right here in favor of this package right here. And then probably the Golgari Charms or Dreadbores, depending on the build. So that's definitely the list. Hopefully it performs well. There is some glaring problems with this deck. One is milling your Immortal Servitude or Perforos. That is something that the Bug Immortal Servitude never had a issue with, because you could always Snapcaster Major Immortal Servitude, and your win con was something you got back with Immortal Servitude, whereas this win condition you have to hardcast it, being Perforos, God of the Forge. So that's the biggest glaring problem with this. Another is we have a lot of comes into play tap lands, so even though we are an aggressive deck, that can really slow us down. So anyway, hopefully it performs well. This has been Kevin with Gathering Magic and Roguedeckbuilder.com. Thanks for watching.